Where and how will the Black Ops 7 Zombies storyline begin? Because the games don't take place in chronological order and haven't for a long time. Vanguard Zombies came out after Cold War Zombies, yet takes place before that game. Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, which came out before Black Ops 6, takes place after that game, and now we are having Black Ops 7 coming out after BO6, but the question I've been asking is, will it take place before or after Modern Warfare 3? Because even though the main game is set in 2035, because Zombies is taking place within the Dark Ether this time, I don't think that necessarily means the Zombies mode will be taking place in 2035. And we've seen from prior games, just because the campaign is set in a certain era which dictates the type of weapons we get, that doesn't mean our Zombies maps have to take place in that year as well. For example, Black Ops 3 was in 2065, we had very futuristic weapons, yet a lot of the Zombies maps took place in the 1940s. Darius and Draka was in 45, Shadows of Evil was in 1944, Zetsubo no Shima in 1945, so you can see none of the maps and the story actually took place in the time that game was set. If we look at Black Ops 2, that game took place in the past and the future, but again we had maps like Origins, which happens in 1918, Mob of the Dead in 1933, Transit was in 2035, which funnily enough is the exact same year that Black Ops 7 is going to be set in, but you can see the point I'm making is just because a COD is set in a certain time does not mean the Zombies has to relate to that in any way. So Black Ops 7 happening in 2035 doesn't mean Zombies is going to take place then, which also means, for me at least, it is not guaranteed that this game will be taking place after Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. I think there's a good chance it could be before then, after BO6, but before MW3. And from all of the leaks that we've had, none have been able to clarify that. We haven't actually been given a date as to when it's going to be set. We've just been told it will be taking place within the heart of the Dark Ether. I think there's an argument to be made for both though, because if we take a look at what happened in MW3, at the very beginning we saw Weaver, Carver, Strauss and Gray lying dead around that table. We never fully learned how they got themselves into that situation, other than being told they attempted to save Samantha and failed. There is so much more to that story there that we never learnt in MW3. Also, another character, Ava, who we know was the daughter of Samantha and Revanov and birthed by Gray, she was her surrogate. We never learnt in that game, and so far in Black Ops 6 we also haven't learnt how that really happened. I feel there's so much more to the story there that Treyarch could expand on. And another important story event from that game was Samantha. Revanov told us they attempted to rescue her from the Dark Ether but failed, so in that game she is nowhere to be seen. But we see, unlike Weaver, Carver, Gray and Strauss, who are dead, their status is deceased, Samantha's was still classified, so she wasn't technically dead, at least not to Revanov's knowledge. So you can see the point I'm making is there is so much that clearly took place before Modern Warfare 3 but probably after Black Ops 6 Zombies, unless we end up learning it in the next map, the final one, Janus Towers, that if BO7 Zombies does end up taking place after MW3, well, there's a load of events there that haven't been explained to us that we've missed out on. So what I'm saying is, because a lot of people seem to be assuming Black Ops 7 Zombies will be taking place in the year 2035 as well, meaning it will be after MW3, but what's to say it won't be before Modern Warfare 3? We know that Carver, Gray, Strauss and Weaver died in 1996. They were dying a slow death due to their exposure to the Dark Ether, but there is just a random 5-year time gap between Black Ops 6 Zombies, which is in 1991, and the crew dying in 1996. What happens between them? Unless we learn it in the final map, Janus Towers, which I very much doubt it, right? There's so much Treyarch have got to fill in. The Order, Court Effects, Samantha Maxis' situation. We've then got Ava's early life, how Revanov ended up surviving in MW3 when the rest of the crew died, he shouldn't be alive, and how they led up to their deaths in 1996. The point I'm making is, if Black Ops 7 takes place in 2035 after MW3, there is a whole 5-year time gap where loads of events clearly happened that we are going to be missing. I'm not saying Treyarch need to fill that in, but a lot of people seem to be assuming BO7 will just simply be taking place after MW3, when I don't think that's guaranteed. But I will say, with what we saw happen at the end of that game, which takes place in the year 2021-2022, Ava travelled to Liberty Falls, where she was taken by a Shadowsmith. It appeared out of the mirror, pretending to be her mother, and pulled her into the Dark Ether.
Ah, checking up on your daughter.
I wanted to say hello, to ask how you are doing.
I'm on my best behavior. Promise.
A lot has happened. It has taken a while to process. It it all.
Process it all. Who are you and what have you done with Ravenov?
So what are your plans? What is next for Dr. Jensen?
You are checking up on me.
Ava.
Chill out. I'm glad you called. I tried the whole vacation thing, I really did. But I needed to keep my mind occupied. I kept thinking about Miller's report. I'm visiting the site of the localized incursion she survived as a child. Liberty Falls is even more of a one-horse town than I'd suspected.
Come on, Ava. Listen, you must leave that place. It is not safe. Are you there? Ava?
Mother? Is that you?
Ava. Ava!
We know Black Ops 7's maps are going to be taking place within the heart of the Dark Ether, so it could make sense that we will be in there at the same time as Ava, and the story will revolve around her in some way, or at the very least we will hear from her. Maybe she ends up being the main antagonist. Just looking at the leaked information that we have for BO7's zombie story, and I don't know if any of this is true, it's a leak, so just take it with a grain of salt. A version of Dempsey, Nikolai, Takeo and Richtofen are set to return, but it won't be the premise versions or the Ultimus versions, it is a slightly different version of them, and the storyline will evolve around a new enemy character who wants to absorb the Dark Ether essence of the original 4 characters and bring back the old multiverse. That to me doesn't sound like a story that would happen before MW3 Zombies, but it also doesn't sound like one that would happen after either, because surely if it's after this game, then the story would revolve around Ava and her time in the Dark Ether, what's happened to her, and if it takes place before MW3 but after Black Ops 6, well, that would mean this version of Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey were alive and existed within the Dark Ether before MW3 Zombies, but that game's story suggests nothing of the sorts. I mean, it's still possible. Remember, that game takes place in 2021, so it's, what, over 20 years after the events of Black Ops 6 and probably Black Ops 7, if it happened then. That's a lot of time, not to mention it's also in the Dark Ether, but as far as the leaked storyline goes, I don't see that fitting in before MW3 or after it, but it's got to be one or the other. The other scenario is, just like the campaign in MP, Zombies will also be taking place in the year 2035, meaning it could potentially be 15 years after the events of MW3. It could be that Treyarch just ignore Ava being dragged into the Dark Ether and anything related to that, because it's 15 years ahead, and just pretty much tell a new story. Whilst yes, those events still happened, they don't necessarily have to have it be a part of the main story. They could just say, yeah, this happened and this happened with Ava and this was her conclusion, that's that out of the way. Now here's a continuation of that story revolving around Nikolai, Takeo, Dempsey and Richtofen. I do think with BO7 Zombies taking place in the Dark Ether, Treyarch have really helped themselves out here because they now don't have to follow reality. The Dark Ether is a contortion of everything, and that's proof with the potential return of Transit, so they can introduce things into the story from all different eras, from the past, present and future. Also because time in the Dark Ether works differently. I'm pretty sure, just going off memory, 10 years on Earth equates to, isn't it like 100 years in the Dark Ether? So yeah, what I'm wondering is, how will the Black Ops 7 Zombies storyline begin? If it's after BO6 but before MW3, then there's so much of the story Treyarch have got to fill in the final map. Or if it's after MW3, then the same still applies. There's a lot of the Black Ops 6 Zombies storyline to fill in, not to mention the 5-year gap between Black Ops 6 and the crew dying, along with the 20-year gap between them dying and the start of MW3 Zombies. I couldn't say for sure, to be honest. A lot of people just seem to be assuming Zombies will be taking place in the year 2035, so after MW3, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.